Hello. Today we are going to do Unit 7, Lesson 3, which is going to be a transition from frequency to relative frequency. All right. So in our previous lesson, we learned that frequency is the number of times that something occurs. Today we're going to practice relative frequency tells us the number of times something occurs compared to the total. All right. Now, to find relative frequency, we will set up a ratio comparing the frequency to the total using division. And then we will convert that to a percentage. And we will use our graphing calculators, or really any calculator at this point, to help us convert to a relative frequency, which should be a percentage. We're going to read questions carefully to determine whether the total is referring to the entire table or just a specific row or column. And that's the trickiest part about this. Okay, so let's look at number 1. In a survey of 50 people, 23 individuals answered that their favorite ice cream flavor was vanilla. What was the relative frequency of individuals who chose vanilla? Express your answer as a ratio and a percent. So this is number 1. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the total number of people, and we're going to take the total number of individuals who answered that ice cream was vanilla. And then we're going to compare that to the frequency of individuals who chose vanilla. Okay, so what I'm going to do is 23 divided by 50. And if I type that into my calculator, it will give me a conversion of 0.46. All right, when we do a relative frequency table, oftentimes you're going to see your answer in decimal form. So we just need to be able to know how to convert this to a percent. So this would be 46%. Great job. Okay, example number 2. Complete each blank space in the two-way table to the right. So right now, this is a practice of yesterday's lesson. I need for you to pause this video and fill in this frequency table in total. All right, so now that you have filled in the frequency table, we are going to use this table to answer the following questions. Okay, so of the people surveyed, and this is key, of the people surveyed, so they want the total number of people surveyed, which will be 100. What is the relative frequency who floss regularly? Okay, floss regularly. Frequency of people who floss regularly. So they want me to look at the floss regularly, and it is all people. It didn't specify if they had a gym membership or no membership. They want all people who floss regularly. So this is going to be 32 people. And then our relative frequency will be 0.32, and they want it as a percent. So 32% is my answer for that. Okay, let's look at example number 4. Of the people who own a gym membership. So what I'm going to do is look at the people, gym membership, total is 45. Okay. Of the people who own a gym membership, what is the relative frequency of people who floss regularly? So of people who floss regularly. Again, of all the people who floss regularly, and they only want me to focus on people who have gym memberships. Gym memberships who floss frequently. So that would be 21. Floss frequently, have a gym membership. So 21. If I type this into my calculator, I'm going to get 0.47, which as a percent is 47%. So the hardest part is figuring out what should go on the bottom of your ratio. Okay. Number 5, of the people who do not own a gym membership. Of the people who do not own a gym membership, that is a total of 55 people. Okay. What is the relative frequency of people who floss regularly? So I'm only looking at people with no gym membership. How many floss regularly? And that is 11 people. So 11 out of 55 would give me 0.20 if I typed it in the calculator. And I need to convert that to 20%. Great job. Okay, now let's look at example 6. We need to answer a question about this data. Does there seem to be a relationship between people who own a gym membership and people who floss regularly? So, own a gym membership and floss. Do not own a gym membership and floss. 47%, 20%. Is there a great enough difference to show that there might be a relationship between owning a gym membership and flossing? And I would say, yes, there does. Okay. People who own a gym membership, okay, there's less of them, but a higher percentage of them floss regularly. So I think that physical health and hygiene really seem to go hand in hand for these people. Physical health, and I'm going to say oral health because it's oral hygiene in your mouth, and oral health seem to matter. Both of them do. Both seem to matter more to people who own a membership at the gym. I just don't have the space to write all that, all right? So yes, so what we're trying to do is find if there's a relationship, kind of like what we were doing with our scatter plots and line of best fit. We were trying to see if there was a relationship between our X values and our Y values, okay? Same thing that we're doing here. Now let's go look at our next set of examples, okay? In each question below, express the relative frequency as percentages, round to the nearest whole number. So the first thing that I want you to do is pause this video and fill in this two-way frequency table. So please pause your video to do that. All right. So make sure that you have filled in your frequency table correctly. And now what I would like for you to do is to try to answer these 3 questions. This is A, B, and C. And I want you to see if you are able to find out the relative frequency of the specific information that they're asking for. Please pause your video and try to answer all 3 parts. All right, so all I did was set up my ratios, and I just want you to make certain that you understand how I got the numbers that I got. So in part A, it says of the people who were surveyed. That means total. So I'm looking at the total here. What is the relative frequency of who have pets? So again, I need to look at the total number of people who have pets here, which is 64. 64 out of 125 is going to give me 51% of people surveyed have pets. Of the people who have kids, so I'm looking at kids, there's a total of 63 people with kids. All right. What is the relative frequency of people who have pets? So under those who have kids, just this column, how many have pets? The answer is 41 right here. And that percentage is going to be 65. Finally, of the people who do not have kids, so let's look at this row, no kids. There's a total of 62 people with no kids. So that is the total. What is the relative frequency of people who have pets? So only in this row, no kids. How many people have pets? 23. And that ratio or percentage will be 37. The ratio is 23 over 62, and the percent is 37. So my question for you is, does there seem to be any any association between people who have kids and people who have pets? And it seems like there does, yes. So if I was a super happy mom who wanted to give my kids everything they wanted, we would have a pet. Okay? Because kids like pets. They like something that they can care for and love. So it does seem that kids love pets. So parents buy them pets, right? All right. But some people who do not have kids like their fur babies, okay? So there does seem to be an association. However, it's not a guarantee because I have 3 children and I have no pets. All right. All right. Great job. Now what we are going to do, so now I feel like we're pretty comfortable with taking a frequency table and finding relative frequency. I want us to start with a relative frequency table. So I filled this example in at the bottom of our paper. And let me just give myself some room here. Okay. Move some stuff out of the way. So a survey of 240 people was taken. So what we're doing in this example is we're going to have to work backwards. Let me scooch this down. So a survey of 240 people was taken. They were asked which type of car they might buy next. So in this type of problem, it is very important that the only way that we would ever possibly be able to start answering this is if they told me the total people that were in all in the survey. And they did. So let me use my highlighter. They have to give me the total. 240 people total. So this, if I changed that decimal to a percent, would be 100%. So this is going to be 240 people. Okay. What we need to do is to change every one of these relative frequencies to a frequency so that we can then answer these questions. Okay. They want me to say which one of these is true. 156 people preferred SUVs. Well, I currently have a relative frequency. I need to know the actual frequency of people. So here is how we're going to do that. We're going to fill in a frequency table out to the right-hand side of our paper. But before we do that, I just want to make certain that you understand how we do this, okay? In my calculator, how did I get from 100% of people to 240 people itself? Well, instead of dividing to find our relative frequency, we now need to multiply. We now need to multiply to find the actual number of people. So I did 1.0, that was the relative frequency, times 240, and that's how I got 240 people. So what I need to do to each one of these is multiply it by 240. Okay, 240 by every single one. And that is how I go back to a frequency. All right, so I'm going to use my calculator and I'm going to multiply every one of these percentages or decimals by 240. And then I'm going to come out to the right-hand side of my paper and I am going to fill in this frequency table. So converted to frequencies. Okay, so I have SUV, I have sports, and total. I have males, females, and totals out to the side. So I filled in my table. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and do all of my multiplication and fill in my table. So 0.0875 times 240 is 21. 0.5625 times 240 is 135. Okay, and I'm just going to keep using my calculator to multiply these values times 240, the total number of people. All right, and now I have my frequency table. Now, let's see if we can answer these 4 true or false questions. 156 people prefer SUVs. So here's SUVs, here's the total of people, and this is true. 45 males prefer sports cars. So go to males, go to sports cars, and that's not 45, that's 39. So that's false. The true answer would be 39. 120 more women were surveyed than men. So 180 minus 60 is 120. So that is true. That I did 180 minus 60, and that was true. And then part D, 18 more males. So whenever we see that more, we're going to need to subtract to get our final answer. 18 more males preferred sports cars over SUVs. So sports cars minus SUVs. So 39 minus 21 is 3 minus 2 is 1 is 18. So true. Okay. So I have 3 of these were true. Okay. Now, if you were taking an exam, more than likely only one of these would have been true. And you would just need to figure out which one of them is true. Okay. But this is how we will be using relative frequency. So we need to be able to convert to relative frequency to answer questions, as well as to take a relative frequency table and convert it back to frequency. We got to be able to go back and forth, okay? And that is our final brand new lesson for this school year. Everything else that I post will be review. Okay, I'm going to post a review of each quarter, not counting quarter 1 because we've already spent pretty much all of first semester doing it. And then we reviewed it during our second semester. Okay. So look for 3 more assignments that are all review after this one. Until next time, guys.